Madam Koi Koi was a fine-looking teacher at Akataka Secondary School. All the students were admiring her for her beauty. She was always wearing shiny red high heels that go koi-koi when she walked down the corridors. But Madam Koi Koi was also a wicked teacher. She was always beating students for no good reason. One day she slapped a girl so hard that the girl's ear started bleeding. The girl reported to the principal, and Madam Koi Koi was fired from the school. On her way back home, Madam Koi Koi was involved in a terrible motor accident. She did not survive the accident. Before dying, she swore that she would come back to take revenge on the school and the students who caused her dismissal. A few weeks later, students staying in the hostels started hearing the sound of high heels walking in the corridors late in the night. Koi koi, koi koi. The sound came even after the lights were switched off. Everyone knew it must be the ghost of Madam Koi Koi coming to haunt the school. In another legend, Madam Koi Koi was an extremely wicked teacher who enjoyed beating up students a lot. She was probably a sadist who used her position as a teacher to unleash cruelty on children. Fed up of her torture, one night a group of students captured Madam Koi Koi when she was leaving school. They gagged her mouth and beat her up mercilessly with sticks and shoes for all the suffering she had caused them. She died from the beating. The students threw her body over the school fence to make it seem like she was killed by armed robbers. But soon these students started disappearing one after the other under mysterious circumstances. Only one boy was left, who kept telling everyone that he can hear the sound of Madam Koi Koi's high-heeled shoes at night around the hostel, which means she has come back to haunt him for revenge. But no one believed him. One night the boy decided to find out where exactly the koi koi sound was coming from. He ventured outside and was never seen again. Next day his body was found beaten to death. Everyone understood that this was the ghost of Madam Koi Koi that killed him. The school had to be shut down forever. All the students were transferred to other schools, and in every school these transferred students carried the legend of Madam Koi Koi with them, the teacher ghost who haunts hostels at night in her high heels, looking to punish everyone related to her death. Those she catches disappear forever. Even today, it is said that Madam Koi Koi walks the abandoned corridors of Akataka Secondary School in the dead of the night. Koi 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 koi, waiting for her revenge. No one dares go near that school anymore for fear of crossing paths with the dangerous high-heeled ghost. The story of Madam Koi Koi spread like wildfire across the country. Soon, almost every student had heard about the vengeful ghost teacher who hunts down children to punish them for her death. Parents started fearing for the lives of their kids studying in boarding schools. Afraid that their children might be the next victim of Madam Koi Koi's ghost, parents pressurized school authorities to take action. Alarmed by the angry parents, school administrations appointed special night guards across hostels and made prayer sessions for students mandatory, all in an effort to ward off Madam Koi Koi's deadly spirit. In some schools, principals even called famous witch doctors to conduct exorcism rituals to drive away the high-heeled ghost. Students were asked to hang small amulets and charms on their beds, hostel doors and windows. Everyone was strictly warned not to step outside alone after nightfall to avoid any encounter with Madam Koi Koi's vengeful ghost. Rumors spread that anyone who made eye contact with Madam Koi Koi's terrifying form would lose their mind or die on the spot. Students started huddling together in fear whenever they heard a mild koi koi sound at night. Some faint-hearted kids left boarding schools altogether, unable to bear the terror anymore. The police started intensive investigations into Madam Koi Koi's mysterious and violent killings, but found no solid leads or evidence. With time, more paranormal tales got attached to Madam Koi Koi's legend across boarding schools. It was said that if she catches a student roaming the hostel corridors late at night, she would first make them go mad with her evil stare, and then stomp their bodies furiously with her high-heeled shoes, splattering blood all over, leaving behind an unrecognizable mess for discovery next morning. Some claimed that one night, Madam Koi Koi's red eyes glowed in the dark as she stood in a hostel corridor, surrounded by flames and laughing wickedly. Her loud, evil laughter echoed across the entire school premises, causing students to nearly die of shock and horror. As per another shocking account, 3 friends staying together in a dorm room were found dead with their lifeless bodies positioned in a sitting position and heads bashed in with blunt objects. The dying message left behind by one of those boys in blood read, "Madam Koi Koi." These stories threw all boarding schools into an unprecedented state of chaos and panic, triggering an avalanche of criticism and complaints. State administrations were compelled to sit up and take strict measures to curb the hysteria. A high-level ministerial committee was set up to investigate the validity around stories of the ghost teacher. Psychiatrists were appointed in schools to calm fears and anxiety among students. Police protection was beefed up across hostels with increased night vigilance. Measures were undertaken to counsel fearful parents to not withdraw children from boarding schools due to safety concerns. Senior ministers went on national television debunking Madam Koi Koi's evil spirit as a silly rumor spread irresponsibly by antisocial elements. Stern warning was issued, stating immediate arrest of anyone trying to fuel panic in schools using a figment ghost story. Reward was announced to expose conspiracy theories aimed at destabilizing the education system. Finally, after months, the uncontrolled spread of the dangerous legend showed signs of weakening due to strong administrative intervention. Schools no longer reported mysterious deaths or crazy sightings having any links to Madam Koi Koi. Parents felt assured to send children back since no fresh ghost incidents came up. For several years, an uneasy calm prevailed around Madam Koi Koi's story, although the legend continued to do rounds among students across generations. No student stayed alone in dark corners anymore, fearing they might attract the wicked teacher's ghost. Juniors were threatened by seniors that if they didn't finish their daily chores, Madam Koi Koi would be called to whip them at night. However, last year, a sudden spike in Madam Koi Koi's sightings happened again after decades. 3 girls from a renowned girls' boarding school were found dead under puzzling circumstances, bearing marks of brutal assault. Before dying, all 3 wrote about being haunted by Madam Koi Koi near the school fence at night. Investigation revealed the girls had stepped out to meet local village boys when they were raped and murdered. But the Koi Koi angle sparked a huge uproar with parents and activists, calling it a systemic failure, causing danger to girls, despite strict protection policies. Sensing the emergency, authorities banned villagers from loitering near school boundaries after evening and re-strengthened security protocols. But this time dealing with the crisis proved harder with incessant news media coverage and higher public scrutiny enabled by the internet. Rattled by nationwide criticism on social media, the Education Department took urgent steps involving police, doctors and counselors to reassure anxious parents, students and schools. Multiple awareness campaigns were launched to subdue outdated superstitions, causing hysteria among gullible people. Teachers were trained to have open channels of communication with students, helping them voice fears freely without feeling scared or stigmatized. Regular peer support sessions were made mandatory, providing empathy and comfort to school children unable to handle stress levels. Emphasis was laid on scientific temperament, guiding students to assess situations logically before getting overwhelmed prematurely. Correct evaluation of potential risks and dangers was encouraged by having regular mock safety drills and briefings. Emergency response behaviors were reinforced, enabling faster assistance. Technology was leveraged creatively with all students given safety apps and GPS trackers. Network jammers were installed around school fences to curb unauthorized external interactions causing trouble. Strict cyber hygiene practices were rolled out to make internet usage responsible and constructive rather than alarming. The comprehensive, multi-dimensional strategy of the Education Ministry has helped greatly in easing out anxiety and panic related to the lore of Madam Koi Koi. Both schools and parents feel more empowered now to avoid falling prey prematurely to forces attempting to destabilize student well-being out of malicious agendas. Experts have lauded the rational, mature and progressive stance adopted by authorities focusing on authentic student safety goals, rather than getting swayed by triggers trying to fan baseless fears and rumors. Thanks to the pragmatic blueprint, no fresh Madam Koi Koi sighting has come up in the past many months across any school. Students nowadays can focus entirely on growth and learning in a protected environment, leveraging trust and positivity, which is true essence of education. With continued diligence and responsibility from all stakeholders, dangerous ghost stories like Madame Koi Koi's can be prevented from resurfacing ever again.